My phone buzzed against the table, and for the fifth time, the screen lit up with my mother's name. I was on a train heading home, the city lights blurring into streaks outside the window. It was 6 p.m., with 2 hours left until I reached my hometown. My office had granted me a 1-month holiday, and I was eager to see my mother. However, her unusual excitement about my arrival felt strange. I brushed it off, thinking she must have just missed me more than usual. At 8 p.m., the train hissed to a stop. I stepped onto the platform, took a taxi, and soon found myself standing in front of my childhood home. The door swung open, and there she was, my lovely mother, her eyes shimmering with tears. "Oh, my dear Liam, you're finally back," she said, her voice thick with emotion as she pulled me into a tight hug. We moved to the living room, and I sank into the familiar comfort of the sofa, exhausted from the long journey. "Mom, could I get a glass of water, please?" I asked. Instead of getting it, she sat down beside me, a peculiar smile playing on her lips. "Your water is coming," she said, her eyes twinkling. Just then, a beautiful young woman, around 22 years old, entered the room carrying a glass of water. She approached cautiously and handed it to me, her gaze fixed on the floor. I could sense her nervousness. She seemed shy and uncomfortable. "Thank you," I said, offering her a warm smile. My mother's eyes shone as she watched the young woman. "Liam, I'd like you to meet Chloe. She's our new house helper." "Oh, okay. Welcome, Chloe," I said kindly. "Thank you, sir," she replied softly. "Oh, no, no, no," my mother suddenly exclaimed. "Don't call him sir. He has a wonderful name, Liam. Just call him Liam. I would be very happy with that." "Yes, please, just call me Liam," I added, smiling again. Later at the dinner table, while Chloe was busy in the kitchen, my mother leaned in and whispered, "Chloe is going to be staying with us. The poor girl lost her parents last week in an accident. She had nowhere to go, as they were living in a rented house. I wanted to help her, and I was already looking for some help around the house anyway." "That was incredibly kind of you, Mom," I said. "But do you know her well? You know how things are with youngsters these days, having a complete stranger in our home." "She's not a stranger," my mother cut in. "I know her family well." After our conversation, I went to bed, but my mother's words lingered in my mind. The next morning, I came down to find my favorite breakfast prepared. My mother sat with me, but Chloe stood by the counter, looking shy. "Come on, Chloe, have breakfast with us," my mother insisted. "Yes, please join us," I added. She hesitantly sat down beside me. As I looked at her more closely, I noticed something startling. She had blue eyes, just like mine. I felt an instant, unexplainable connection to her. Later that day, I was planning to go to the market. But you know, Liam," my mother began, "I'm feeling quite tired today. Could you please take Chloe with you?" "Yes, I can go with her," I said. "Oh, lovely. You two can spend some time together," she replied, with a cheerful tone that felt a little forced. I couldn't understand why she was so keen on pushing us together, and I started to suspect she had a hidden motive. At the market, I helped Chloe pick out some dresses, and I was surprised to find we had very similar tastes. Afterward, we stopped at a coffee shop. We talked for hours, sharing stories about our lives, our dreams, and our fears. I felt a genuine happiness talking to her that I hadn't felt in a long time. We returned home around 6 p.m. I expected my mother to be annoyed that we were late, but instead, she was overjoyed that we had spent the day together. She even suggested I take Chloe to the park the next day. I knew then that something was definitely going on in her head. Before dinner, I confronted her. "Mom, can you please tell me what's happening? You've been acting so strange. Why are you pushing me to spend time with Chloe? What are you planning?" "I know what you're thinking, Liam," she said calmly, "but believe me, I truly care for Chloe. I don't want to treat her like a maid. I just want her to feel like she's a part of our family." Her explanation seemed plausible, yet I felt there was more to it. It seemed my mother wanted Chloe to become a part of our family by becoming my wife. That evening, Chloe baked my favorite cake to thank me. After we ate, we went up to the terrace. It was a beautiful, clear night. We laughed and talked for hours. At one point, our eyes met and held. In the soft moonlight, she looked breathtakingly beautiful. I took her hand in mine, and she smiled a smile that made my heart ache. I went to bed that night but couldn't sleep. My mind was consumed with thoughts of Chloe. That special bond I felt from the first day had blossomed into something more. I knew, without a doubt, that I was in love with her. I decided I had to tell my mother and Chloe. My mother would be thrilled. After all, this was what she wanted. I planned to propose to Chloe the very next night. The next morning, I went out and bought a beautiful ring. I spent the afternoon decorating the backyard with fairy lights and flowers, wanting everything to be perfect. I decided to keep it a surprise from my mother until afterward. That night, I led Chloe to the backyard. Her eyes widened in awe at the romantic setup. I took a deep breath, got down on one knee, and pulled out the ring. "Chloe," I began, "will you marry me?" Tears of joy streamed down her face as she screamed, "Yes, yes, yes!" Hearing her shout, my mother rushed into the backyard. She saw me on one knee, the ring in her hand, just about to place it on Chloe's finger. "What is all this? What are you doing, Liam?" she shrieked, her face pale with shock. I laughed, standing up. "I'm going to marry Chloe, my first love. This is what you wanted, isn't it?" "Oh, leave me, Mother. I'm the happiest man alive today." "Nonsense," she yelled. "You can't marry her. Are you both out of your minds?" And with that, she collapsed to the ground. We were utterly shocked. I called a doctor immediately. After an examination, the doctor explained that my mother had suffered a severe panic attack and warned me not to cause her any more stress. When she regained consciousness, I went to her room alone. Chloe was too afraid to come with me. "Mom, are you okay?" I asked gently. "Yes, my son," she replied weakly. "Then why did you react like that? You were the one who wanted us to be together." "Look, Liam," she said, her voice trembling. "I know I encouraged you to be close to Chloe, but I never, ever wanted you to marry her. And I will never give you my permission. You must forget these feelings for her." "No, never. I love Chloe with all my heart. You liked her so much, so why are you against this now? Please, Mom, try to understand," I pleaded. She simply closed her eyes and didn't reply. A few days later, I came home to find guests in our house. A young woman and her mother were sitting with my mom. "Liam," my mother said, "this is Sophia, my friend's daughter. Isn't she beautiful? I have chosen her to be your wife." "What?" I shouted, enraged. "This can't be happening." I turned to the two ladies and politely but firmly asked them to leave. My mother was furious with me. "How could you even think of marrying me to someone else when you know I love Chloe?" I demanded. "I have already told you, you cannot love Chloe," she cried. "But why? Give me a reason. Can't you see how much pain you're causing me?" "I cannot give you a reason now. It's not possible," she whispered, tears rolling down her cheeks. "You have to, or I will take Chloe and we'll get married without you," I threatened, my anger getting the best of me. My mother started sobbing. "Liam, my son, I love you so much. I can't lose you. I don't want you to hate me. If you want to know the reason, you will have to wait for my death." I was so blinded by anger that I said something I will regret for the rest of my life. "Then die, Mom." After that day, I stopped speaking to her. Her health deteriorated rapidly. She grew weaker and was always sick. A few months later, to end the turmoil, my mother arranged for Chloe to marry someone else. I tried to stop the wedding, but seeing my mother's frail condition, Chloe agreed to leave and she got married. My mother cried every single day after that. The doctor said she only had a few days left. One evening, as I was returning home, I saw a small crowd of people gathered outside my house. A cold fear gripped me. A neighbor approached and told me my mother was gone. I rushed inside, my world collapsing around me. It was the worst day of my life. A week after her death, while going through her room, I found a letter addressed to me. With trembling hands, I began to read. "My dearest Liam, I know you hate me, but I couldn't tell you the truth. I was afraid that if you knew, you would hate me even more. I never hated Chloe. In fact, I loved her as if she were my own daughter. I wanted you to treat her like a sister, not a lover. Now it is time for you to know the truth. Please, I beg you not to hate me after reading this. The reason I was against your marriage with Chloe is because she is your real sister. You share a blood relation with her. Liam, I adopted you from a very poor family when you were just a baby. I am not your biological mother, but believe me, I have always loved you as my own son. When Chloe's parents, your biological parents, died, I decided to bring her into our home. It was a terrible mistake. Everything that happened is my fault. I am so sorry, my son. Please forgive your mother. Don't hate me, because I will continue to love you even after I am gone. When I finished the letter, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. Whose mistake was this? Mine? My mother's? Now I have no mother, no sister, and no lover. What should I do now? Can anyone tell me?